I'm getting so black.
We might have people still jumping on Zoom or not. I can tell you right now that Russ Leonard and Alan Shyness are not going to join us tonight. But present, we have so far John Piker, Mary Stone, Jay Verblum, and Dr. Rick Golding, and welcome. That's the first thing I want to say is welcome our newest Old Line member. Yay! Okay, so we're missing Skip. Who else are we missing? Right?
Russell.
Huh?
Russell, we knew he was there.
Russell. Well, Russell's in Aruba. Bless his heart. Okay.
They've got internet down there.
Sorry.
I say they've got internet in Aruba.
Yeah, I know, but yeah, he's got a pass this time. All right, let's move on to the agenda, if you would. We have no guests at this point, thank you. And we do have minutes to approve from the March meeting and March 9th. Do you need an agenda in minutes, Rick?
I'll take a current minute, so that'd be great.
Yeah, here. How about you? You got everything you need?
I'm good.
Okay. Okay. So if you take a look at the March 9th minutes and see if there's any thing that you would like to correct or add. If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept as they are.
Motion.
Okay, John.
Second.
Okay, John. And BJ. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do we have a quorum? Yeah, we do. Okay. All right, under old,
Don't forget Ken on Zoom.
and we have Ken. Okay, Ken, are you okay with the minutes? Yo, Kenneth.
Yes, I'm good. I gave a thumbs up. I'm sorry. I had myself on mute.
Okay, we'll come back. Okay. All right, under old business, update for planning the future. I've got good news. Alan, Steve Mattson, and I met with Dave Kelsey last week, and who also forwarded all that information to Tim Griswold. And we have tentatively the approval of funding through fiscal year 22-23. There are some conditions, not conditions, but just some recommendations in that pack that I sent you, that PowerPoint deck that I sent you. Probably the most important page in that was page 17, which is the timeline that was revised, that actually was a really good convincing point for Old Line, for Dave Kelsey. I recommended when we had the March 15th meeting, there was some concern about allowing point 1 to continue working and then back billing after July 1st, whatever. People were getting a little nervous about that. So I said, look, we still have 10 grand left that the board of directors pledged for the feasibility study that was left over. So if we allow them to continue without interruption for May and June, July 1st, fold that $61,500, not the $71,500 for the schematic design into the next fiscal cycle. And that then they don't have to worry about billing. Okay, so that seemed to resonate well, and that actually was one of the convincing points. So if you look at the project timeline, we pushed it forward a little bit. We pushed schematic design and everything out to complete architectural design to construction plans into the next fiscal year for 22-23. So that means that what's being approved hopefully right now will be a total of $292,600. And I'm pretty sure that Lyme has already approved their portion, and their deadline was last night.
Yep.
For their finance board, and I didn't get anything negative back from that so far, so I'm thinking it went through. And
Let me just mention that this is, I think, prepared by point 1, who are wonderful architects, but not perfect accountants. The name of the fiscal year is based on the end of the year.
Right.
So where they say fiscal year 22, it's really
You're
fiscal
looking at
year
the wrong one.
23. Oh, am I?
Yeah, you need to look at this one.
Well, that's okay. No, it doesn't matter. If it's corrected, it's good.
This is the one that we're working with.
Different deck.
Okay.
No, it's not a different deck. It's
Okay.
just that the page that BJ's looking at is part of the appendix.
Oh, okay.
Well, I still don't understand this. It says old lawn share included in 21-22 budget, 219,000.
Mhm.
Isn't it the 22-23 budget? It's just nomenclature.
Right.
It's
just a typo.
Oh, okay. I'll get Alan to fix that. That's easy.
It's just confusing for somebody who looks at it.
Yeah, no, that's, yeah,
Right.
that's an easy correction. Thanks for picking that up. And when I talk to Alan tomorrow, I'll ask you to take a look at that again. The idea was to not have any huge gaps in time between the schematic design building for the construction documents that they'll be able to produce. So that we can go out to bid and break ground in 2024 at some point, okay? That seemed to be agreeable. Now, at the March 15th Board of Finance meeting, Tim did bring up a concern of public awareness of the project. So what I did in the last couple of days is we have booked the middle school auditorium for April 25th. They would like to see, he and Tim would like to see a public forum, just an information session,
Q&A.
just a Q&A
Okay.
at the end, but we're going to use this deck as our presentation tool. And I booked the middle school today. We're really good. We don't have to pay any fees. We have it from 7 to 9 o'clock on that night. Now, Alan and I will take care of running the projection and doing the upfront stuff, but he asked that members of the committee try to be there,
Mhm.
first of all, and I agree. And secondly, that if there are questions that do come out of the public during that meeting, because this is for both towns, it's not just for Old Lyme. It's going to be a joint town meeting, that I can ask people on the committee who have more expertise to answer the question. Like, for instance, Ken, if there's a question that comes out about anything on construction or experience that you've had, or Rick, when you did anything with the schools, BJ, if anything comes out, a question about Old Lyme Board of Finance, just be on tap when you're there to possibly answer the question. So Alan and I aren't the only two people, and they see the committee being more involved. That makes sense. Now, the other thing that Alan asked, and I agree with him, is we need to anticipate some of the questions that could be asked. So I'm asking you to do a little homework. This is the teacher part of me kicking in. Between now and maybe the end of the weekend, I know it's the holiday weekend, but by the end of the weekend, if you could email me any questions that you've experienced, especially Ken, stuff you might have experienced with the boathouse or the library, for any public meeting, a question more, maybe you only come up with 2 or 3 questions, or even 2, or a series of questions that we could take a look at and see what the common questions could end up being that we could be asked.
Do you want to talk about that right now? Because I know what the main question is going to be.
Yeah, how much it's gonna cost? Yeah.
No. How are we going to pay for it?
How are we gonna pay for it? I know.
Yeah, you bring up a great point, and that the question is, they know, they're gonna want to know what's the impact of my taxes. And
Right.
That's no matter what it is, that's really what it comes down to. So, we need to look at that, and in what we've done in the past, especially when we did the Region 18, we had it broken out, so we showed, the old Lyme portion, we showed Lyme's portions, so everyone understood exactly what it is.
The deck that we're gonna use does that. It breaks out the 75-25 split. And it also projects as much as possible with an 8% inflation rate at this point. about how much
Right.
the,
But the
And-
wild card is what are we gonna get in grants and contributions, right?
no, right. Well, we're not, we have to get through this next phase first, because Steve and I talked about this at length the other day. We need to get through the schematic design phase up to a building plan phase before we start. I'm gonna be looking at grants next year, but it's still a little early to look at grants.
Yeah, no, you're not gonna have an answer, you're not gonna have a quantitative answer, but you can give a conceptual answer.
Well,
In other words, the taxpayer's question is gonna be, if old Lyme is 75%, and that's $3 million or whatever it is, you mean that our annual budget is gonna go up by 3 million, and I'm gonna have to pay my pro rata share of 3 million? That's crazy, right?
yeah, right.
To which you're gonna say, no, you won't.
No, we won't.
You're gonna have
We're
to
gonna
pay that
offset.
minus all of the money we can get in grants, and we don't know the
Well,
answer.
well, that's the general answer. The general
Yeah.
answer is gonna be, we're gonna look for other sources of funding to offset the cost, period. And that's gonna include grants and private fundraising, or any other possible money sources. If there's a possibility on the federal level, if the infrastructure money comes down the pipe within the next 18 months, infrastructure money is actually gonna be very perfect for this project, because it's a two-town project, and the infrastructure
Right.
emphasis is on regional.
Well, I think the more specific you can be in identifying possible grants,
Right,
the name of this grant, the name of that grant, the more
Okay.
convincing it'll be to the public that it's real.
I'm ready to do that. I've already,
Great.
I'm gonna say, I've already contacted OMB. We're eligible for steep grants if the money's available. Joe Courtney's office has already sent me possible grants to apply for on the federal level. But right now, we're not there yet,
But you could also
but we
refer to
can be.
your timeline.
Yeah,
Is your timeline going to when that would start?
yeah, we
Yeah,
start
so you got
next
that
year.
all planned out.
It would be next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the idea is to reassure the public that there will be a search by this committee for alternate funding sources to offset the cost, so that their fear of their tax rate going up or whatever, especially if there's other projects coming down the pike,
Mhm.
like the school project that Tim keeps throwing at me.
Mhm.
And so just,
Can I,
Yes,
so some of the things we did with the school project, for example, was one of the main reasons why that bonding project was deferred to this season is because there were other bonds the school was releasing at that point that we were coming up on the end of the obligation. So the idea was with the school project, that as we have new bond obligations dropping off, there'd be new ones replacing, so
Yeah.
that as a seam, you're not really changing the tide level, so to speak, or affecting mill rates and so forth. One of the things that might be a benefit too is discussion with both towns. I know like we have big bridge projects, for example.
Right.
We have fire apparatus, is talking with the town to say, what are your big anticipated projects over the next 2 or 3 years, so that we can also reassure the towns that while we're growing for grants and so forth, but also this is coming in between other projects. We're not really changing our budgetary process and
Mhm.
expectations from one year to the next, so that the town can feel comfortable that regardless, yes, this is a project, but the scope of what the town does every year.
Yeah.
This is falling in between some of those bigger projects, so that again, the average taxpayer who doesn't know the details can say, I know.
and
Well, that's a good point if you get the right answer. I don't know if you can get
Well,
the
that's
right
why I say
answer.
that might be the first, where you might want to have that conversation first with the
Right.
towns, to
Right.
be able to say. this is
Right.
falling in.
But your point about the school debt service is a wonderful one. Are you saying that the contemplation is that the new construction can be financed with debt service that isn't substantially greater than it's been?
The main reason was
in the
there's a
past?
big, I think, I don't quote my exact numbers, but it's in the realm of hundreds of thousands of dollars a year where our debt service drops off. And that's why specifically we had that. So when I started on the board 8, 9 years ago, we had that date specifically set up, knowing that one debt service would be pretty much dropping off significantly, and then that would be a new debt
Well,
service.
that's a wonderful answer.
It's not as though this whole
That's-
bonded
That's
project.
the answer to Tim.
Yeah.
When Tim
And
says,
Tim knows
oh,
that.
how are we gonna have all this money?
Yeah.
If the answer is we're gonna do it with bonding and the debt service is gonna be kind of more or less the same.
Yeah. Okay,
Reaching out to get an
um,
advisor for specific.
all right,
information.
I had a meeting with Devin Carney, Paul Formica, and Norm Needleman.
Yep.
Okay, the three of them at the same time. They're ready to trigger any of the bonding questions and things whenever, whenever we're ready
Right.
to do that and whenever, when the timing is correct.
Mhm.
The other thing is Paul is retiring, so we'll have to see who replaces him. But Norm is really involved with senior center projects in his district. He's doing, working on something with Colchester at the moment. They're really, and Devin's really on board to do this. So I think there's gonna be a bipartisan kind of attempt to actually
That's all but very comforting.
walk it through. I mean,
information.
Devin was ready to put in a bonding, a bill on bonding, if he thought we were already ready. He was gonna do it when they opened the legislative session this year. But now they know that we have to move on, because we don't have anything concrete yet to give them. We don't have a building plan
Yep.
yet, and once we have that, that's when we're gonna be able to do this. So, Steph, did you have a comment?
No, I just was thinking like, and I'm sure you're already going through this in your head, but like, just like being an observer, listening to what was being said, like maybe as a taxpayer, I almost think, and you're probably already thinking ahead of this, is like just to present confidence that we will have no problem getting it, even though we're not at that stage yet. That our confidence is that with all these resources, there's going to be no problem, supplementing what is going to be, owed by the towns, kind of thing.
I've been asked, Steve asked me what I thought we could possibly raise as a legitimate. And I said, well, I don't know, because I've never done anything like this before, but in my own head, I thought between 500,000 and $1 million. And he said, that's completely reasonable.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know, it's reasonable and we could do more, but we're not at that goal
Right.
point yet. I need us to get through the schematic design
Yeah.
phase here.
Right, but I guess all I was saying is that when we go in front of all the people in the town, that it would be, even though we're not at that point yet, to express the confidence that we have, so that they don't feel like they're gonna be, that there's a good chance they're gonna be stuck holding the bag, so to speak,
I'll schmooze the crowd beautifully.
I know, you're good at that.
Marietta, question?
Yeah, did you have a question?
No, I was just gonna remind you that Stephanie wanted to say
Oh, okay.
something.
No, I know, I can see her. I just need to, yeah, sitting here and doing both Zoom and people.
It's tough.
It's not that easy sometimes. Okay, so, all right, so that's, to me, I already knew that was gonna be the overriding arc.
That's always the thing with the
Well,
Line.
Tim
Line likes to spend money, so you never have that problem.
No, well, Tim made a good point, because I actually went to the town hall first yesterday morning to see how to set up this meeting, and actually had a meeting with him in the hallway for 20 minutes. And he made the good point of, remember who you're going to be talking to. You're not going to be talking to financial analysts and financial planners. You're going to be talking to regular people. I said, yeah, I know, I'm one of them.
Right.
Okay, so that's exactly how I want to actually approach the audience,
Mhm.
and it's not going to be a bad idea to also approach the audience by saying, even if there's only 50 people in the room, I can imagine most of the people who are going to show up are 50 years old and older.
Mhm.
And guess what? You're part of the 53% of the people in this community, in both communities. That's the demographic.
So
And
you're gonna-
you're paying taxes, and you are part of the economy of of both communities. So therefore, you're important to this project.
Well, I assume that you're gonna reach out to the senior center membership
Yes,
and invite them to come.
yeah, I intend to start recruiting Monday.
Great.
We've got a big crowd.
Okay, but Stephanie and I both already have a strategy for how we're gonna do the membership recruitment. And I'm gonna reach out to everybody else that I have on my email list from other town organizations, okay? Because it's important for us to do that. And it's important for people to not only show up to support, I mean, this meeting is informational. There's not gonna be a vote at the end of this meeting. It's just to give out information. And Dave Kelsey wanted this meeting before the May 16th town meeting because he wants to put this into the budget. And you're gonna have a Board of Finance meeting before then for him to explain how that's gonna work for Old Lyme's portion.
No, I mean, that all sounds good. I understand it's an informal informational meeting, although that's important. But it's important to hopefully get off on the right public relations
Yes. Oh, yeah.
tone
Oh, yeah.
and get community support as opposed to community opposition.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, this is a PR moment, and it's not just public relations, it's also giving people enough information to make an informed decision
Mhm.
if they come to a town meeting to vote. That's, for me, that's what it is in terms of the democratic process, so.
Excellent.
Okay, so I'm asking Skip, hi, thanks.
Hi.
How you doing, pal?
I just almost spaced out the meeting.
I drove by, saw the truck in the driveway, said, oh, he's coming, he'll get here eventually.
I'm sitting there about 5 minutes past 5. I was thinking today was Thursday.
Yeah.
And I said, this is Wednesday. So I'm here.
Okay, no, we think we've all had that moment. So to bring you up to speed, April 25th, and I will email all of you when I get home again, April 25th.
I won't be here.
Okay, you're
I'll
good.
be in South Carolina.
Okay, all right, so you're not gonna, okay, that's okay. We are gonna have a public forum for information about this project at the middle school for both towns. So it'll be interesting to see how many people actually show up. And just to know, so you know, the other PR end of this, we're gonna be posting this deck on both town websites. We're gonna put it on the senior center Facebook page. It's gonna go out on our senior center web page, and we will be emailing people about this from the center. And I will be emailing other people from other organizations in Old Lyme and other places about coming. We may or may not pack the room. It depends. The last town meeting in Old Lyme, the room was packed.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was a wonderful meeting. So
It was
I'm
packed by
hoping if people show up. Yeah.
Right, I mean, it was packed by allies, not opponents. That's what we
No,
want.
I know, but you need the other voices. You need the hard questions to be asked, and it's appropriate for them to be asked. And I don't want this just to be a straight kumbaya moment.
Think Tim will come?
Huh?
You think Tim will come? I'll try to get Steve to go.
Steve's coming.
Okay, good.
Steve's coming. Tim has his VFW meeting here, but he said he'll bail out early and come.
I'm okay with a kumbaya moment. That's fine with me.
That would be that would be interesting to have, but there are gonna be people who have the questions and exactly the hard concerns, the bottom line, which is, how is this gonna affect me as a taxpayer of either town? And we need to be able to reassure them that we're gonna do everything we can to try to lessen the burden. Okay. Any other questions or concerns about that right now? If not, you could call me, email me, let me know if you think of something out of here. But your homework is to send, I've already written down a couple of questions here, to send me any questions, especially what you might have experienced with the boathouse or the library as more recent projects of questions you might have gotten in any forum. Okay. So Alan and I can anticipate what's going to happen. Now the middle school is giving us free AV. They're not paying, we don't have any fees to pay for this night. They're going to set up the AV for us and everything and have somebody there. So we're going to be good for presentation.
Perfect.
Okay, moving
Are
on.
we going to videotape that ourselves so we can have a record?
That's a really good question.
We have that videographer.
No.
One of the reasons I asked is I can't be there. I'd like to hear what's going on. But secondly, it would be good for our library that
How to
he
record
said,
it.
she said, well, here it is on the tape, and this is what was said. Because that happens often.
All right, I'll have to ask about that, how to record the actual. I'll have to ask.
Are you doing a Zoom link? I'm just thinking also to have
Mhm.
members of the public who otherwise wouldn't be able to attend. If it's a Zoom meeting or some type of link, you can usually record on those links as well.
Yeah, it's Zoom, you can
This
record
isn't-
automatically.
This is a, interesting, it's a public meeting, but it's not an FOI public meeting?
Yeah, so that I don't know.
Yeah,
But-
no, I mean, when Halls Road did their little symposiums that they did at the town hall, they didn't have to record any of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
You
So it's
don't
not a-
have to, the question is, would
Would you,
you?
yeah,
want-
so it's not a have to, it's what, yeah.
yeah, okay.
Let's just look into it and then if
Yeah.
it's doable, great, if it's not.
Yeah, no, you're right, Rick. There's still people who are reluctant to come into a crowd, and
Right.
I get it. I am completely reluctant to come into a crowd of people. So,
You could call the public access studio
Huh?
and ask, you could call the public access studio and ask them if they come up with.
I have the number if you want me to reach out, Jerry.
Steph, could
Yeah, I'll reach out to, if she's still in charge over there, and I have her information. I can't even think of her name right now, but she runs the public access over in, on Holst Road.
be interested in recording it, and
Right. And if not, we have a recorder if somebody wanted to record it. So
okay.
that's another option too. But we'd have to have a volunteer recording it. I do have one gentleman that might be willing to, so I'll reach out and get you some answers, okay?
Okay, I'm just concerned about that recorder, if it's the same one that it's hard to upload to other.
It is, but the woman at the thing knows how to do it, so she'll take care of it, and if that's the case.
That would be perfect.
Yeah, I'm not trying to make a big thing out of it, but I think.
No, it's nice
For
to have a
ourselves,
record.
but also just, because, they said this at the meeting. Okay, who said it one time? We watched the tape. No, that's not what was said.
Okay,
And I just get concerned when we're doing something this large, that there can be a lot of,
possible fake news out there?
there you go. So that's the reason.
Okay, no, it's great. Thank you, Skip. That's a great idea. Okay, so we'll look into that, and I'll look into Zoom link or other possible links from that space. That's the other thing. I'm not too sure that they have the
I
same.
bet you went to the middle school, they might have ideas around that.
Hmm?
The middle school might have ideas on how
Yeah,
to do that.
yeah, I'll talk to Ron. Ron Turner is the one I've been working with. He's the facilities manager. Okay. All right. Outreach, can we move on, or do you?
I got one more idea. I'm sorry, can I, about that, what about the high school AV? Maybe one of them needs, hours.
I'll start with Ron Turner. He may actually have kids on his roster that he actually works with. So, yeah, it's a great question. Okay. Like a high school student who might be able to do it. Okay, all right. That works. Anything else? Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
All right, outreach. Moving on. Since I saw you on March 9th, I participated in the Economic Development Commission's day-long forum on March 19th, where they had the boards and commission chairs come for a day on Saturday. And it was an exchange of ideas, but it was also a reporting session from the Economic Development Commission about what their efforts are, and also Advanced Connecticut's analysis of what they did for the Economic Development Commission here in Ojai. Unbeknownst to me, we were all asked after lunch to get up and give a little spiel about who we are and what we do. And, we weren't told that beforehand. And I luckily read Advanced Connecticut's report the night before and was a little taken aback by some of the focus groups' responses about what they did during their SWOT sessions, their strengths, opportunities, weaknesses, and threats section of their focus group. Because they looked at people who are older in their community as either threats or weaknesses. Those were the responses. So when I got up to do my thing for the senior center, I actually talked to the Advanced Connecticut rep first, because I actually worked with her on the Halls Road project when it first started. And I said, please don't be insulted, but I'm going to shoot that out of the water. And got up and said, you know, it's not an insult, but because it's a cultural norm that people who are older are looked at as threats or weaknesses to the economy or for any other reason. I said, but that's not who we are, and that's not what we do anymore. We still have vulnerable populations that we serve here because we're 2 generations of people that we serve here. But on the other hand, I looked around the room and I said, most of you in this room are 60 and older. And you're going to tell me you're a weakness or a threat? I don't think so. You know, I said, but you have to know that this agency, this municipal agency, responds to the needs of people who want to age well, who want to stay healthy, who want to have the opportunities to stay active and vital and engaged, because that's what keeps us from becoming threats or weaknesses. And on the other hand, our vulnerable members are the ones we take care of as well, because we offer that end of the spectrum of services. And it was a fun day. At the end of the session, we did a little brainstorming with Tim about what the people in the room thought that the town of Old Lyme needs to do for economic development. And the commission has done a wonderful job with their webpage development and a lot of interesting outreach that they're doing. But the bottom line for the people in the room was there needs to be a better process in the town hall for people who want to come in and do anything. And the word planner came up as something that's needed in the town hall to actually coordinate all the departments and services. And when somebody walks in the door, they can meet with somebody, and this is it, told you're going to have to do X, Y, A, B, and C. And that's what you're going to need to do instead of bouncing them off 10 or 12 people. So that idea was planted, and hopefully that's something that'll come down the pipe. So that was an interesting day. And I think people, so there were some people in the room that came up afterwards and told me that they never really knew what was going on here. And I invited everybody in the room to come here, you know, to actually see who we are and what we do and the wonderful work that Stephanie's doing. The other thing that I did in terms of outreach for possible economic relief down the road is that Lyme asked us to think about an alternative energy source for the renovation. Solar or whatever would be the best fit. So I reached out to the Green Bank, which I don't know if anybody knows what the Green Bank is. It's what became of Connecticut's Clean Energy Act back in 2011. That's what it morphed into. They have had a sort of checkered financial history, but they're solvent right now, and they actually have done over $2 billion worth of work helping private homeowners, industry, and municipalities to convert to sustainable energy, especially solar. And so I'm working with, I just got us on the map with them. And when we're ready to pull the trigger, they would love to become involved with asking somebody to come down and work. And I asked Point One's actually worked with the Green Bank in the past to see what we might be eligible for to get a solar panel system that we don't even have to pay for. Okay. And there's a plan that they work with for municipalities that looks very interesting. So if they're still solvent when we're ready to pull that trigger, I've added that to my list of people to reach out to. And, yeah.
Do they finance
yeah,
these or are they giving grants?
I know a condominium complex over in Mystic did work with the Green Bank to add solar to their, and it did not cost the condominium owners a cent. They were, all they had to do was give back the excess energy at the end of the year. They got a 20-year lease on the system, fully installed, maintained, and repaired for the next 20 years at no cost to the condo owners.
Is that Solar City?
Huh?
Mystic,
Is that Tesla?
They work with various different solar, yeah, Solar City is one of the companies they work with, but they work with various different providers. So so that would be interesting to see if we could, whatever we do with that, it's an important thing for Steve to think about. It's part of the discussion about how are we going to offset costs in the future for maintenance and energy for the towns as well.
It's an instant savings.
Yes, the
It's
savings,
an instant savings.
yeah, the
We just
savings.
have to make sure we do the new construction, knowing we're gonna get it, so we can do the proper things to
Well,
make it easier.
Interestingly enough, this roof line is perfect for solar. Southern
Yes.
exposure, no trees, we're actually in a really
Absolutely.
good location.
I'm just thinking structurally when we go to, if we get it, no, obviously, you don't be beforehand.
Yeah.
There may be some things we can put in, one could put in the construction of it to make it easier for us and them.
Yeah, I agree. So anyway, that's our outreach, besides this other stuff we've been doing. So I'd like to move on to other old business. Starting tomorrow, we're actually starting the video that we're having for the center. The videographer that we've hired will be joining us on our first morning hike that we're doing with the hiking group for the McCulloch Preserve. So at 9 o'clock tomorrow, I'll be meeting him and we will, or 9:15, and we will be kicking off that filming. He is also going to, because he thought he would be substitute teaching. So we booked him for the vacation week starting next week. Then there's no school. He's going to be coming in every day and working with staff. He and me, I'm not going to main staff after all, so I'll be around, okay? I pushed the main trip back 3 times already, so it's okay. He's going to be coming in every day to film classes, talk to instructors, interview people. He'll start Monday, also coming to our board of directors meeting. And we'll be there when Dave Griswold will be presenting this center during that meeting with a donation, a sizable donation for the center. So that'll be on film. The idea is to tell our story in film. And he's going to do the parade on Memorial Day that we're involved in. We've asked him to come and do one of the concerts this summer. Once we have that completed video, that'll be a good promotional tool as well, and a very visual one. So we can send that to anybody, put it out there to anybody. And he's a nice guy. He's a young filmmaker. He graduated from Drexel University with a degree in filmmaking. He's done work for the Hallmark Channel and for Amazon.
love the Hallmark Channel.
Yeah, I do too. He's really laid back and mellow, and he's gonna be fun to work with. He's a nice young guy. He really is. He wasn't sure where the parking lot was for the preserve, so he was gonna come today and try to find it. So he knows where to go.
Well, they're small usually.
Huh?
The parking lot's usually pretty small, so it's a good
Yeah,
idea.
yeah. Well, I sent him a Google map, so he was good. Yeah. So that's the only other thing I have under old business that's connected to us. Is there anything that anybody can think of that they need to talk about that we've talked about in the past that we need to talk about again?
I think we should just probably acknowledge the fact that you're putting so much into this yourself. And this is a full-time job, and we just thank you so much.
Well,
I
my
was thinking exactly the same thing.
It's
no,
like-
I mean, those of us that have done this, I mean, Rick, this is the first time I've ever done anything like this. Period.
Act like it is.
So-
She knows what she's doing.
It's like, but the thing is, I keep saying, as long as my husband Greg has decided not to take me to divorce court, I'm good, okay? So we're good. And BJ's been so involved, and Mary and Skip, you guys have all been involved in stuff,
Yeah,
so
but
thank you for the
really-
vote of confidence, but
Taking the bulk
it's,
of it.
it's actually been very interesting, an interesting learning curve.
Well, we just want you to know that people see what you do and appreciate it, and it really is above and beyond what municipal committees typically see their
Correct.
chairman do.
Yeah.
Oh, sure, well,
Yes.
I will give you the same response I've given you in the past and will give you every time that comes up. I thank you for that, but I also can't do it without you. I mean, anyone who leads anything is only as good as who they have to help them lead.
Absolutely.
And that's the way I think. And I'm also a Zone Zoo advocate, so I'm also seriously thinking that when I do run into opposition, I always think, keep my friends close and keep my enemies closer. Okay? So other than that, I don't have anything under new business. Does anybody have anything they want to bring up? I really appreciate everything you guys have said today. And we-
Can I add something to that? Because I was thinking the same thing, and they said at first is, you have done so much, and this committee has done so much. And I think it shows just how passionate all of our committee members are about this project. And we are so fortunate to have all of you guys on board because, we could just be a regular committee that just shows up and does a little bit each time, but instead it seems like we're taking leaps and bounds. So thanks to Jerry, but thank you to all the committee members that have agreed to take this on, because this has took a life of its own, and your expertise really help.
Okay. That was a kumbaya moment. Okay.
I
thanks.
like those, that.
All right, our next meeting is May 11th. I don't anticipate having to call any special meetings, but if we run into any roadblocks between now and the 16th of May, especially, I might be polling you or calling you.
Might call me the day ahead to,
Yeah, okay,
don't get lost.
okay. So if,
Jerry, would you mind emailing us the date and time and
Yeah.
place of the public presentation?
oh, no, I am,
Yeah.
no, I am good. Alan sent me today a clean version of this, but I am gonna have to ask that question about this timeline, because I'm thinking,
These some budget.
yeah,
cycles we have.
he needs to,
Mhm. Same budget cycles we have. July.
Yes,
Yeah, I'm taking care of, and the centers the board's taking care of everything up to July 1st.
Okay.
The point one, I'm gonna have them triggered for May 1st to start the schematic design. So we have money until July 1st that nobody has to worry about. So everything else should be shoved into this.
Mhm.
Okay, all right, so. I need to- Yeah, thanks, BJ, for catching that.
yeah, no, I was just doing the nomenclature thing that you identify the fiscal year by the ending date, not the beginning date. So we're coming to the 2023 fiscal year starting on July 1st.
Yeah, that's what that is. Okay, so, all right. All right, so I will just ask for clarification of that on the visual. Ken, do you have anything you need to say?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay with everything?
Yeah, you guys are doing a great job, Jerry. I can't believe how much I've gone through this before, and you are doing a tremendous amount.
Thanks.
So I think we're gonna have to name the place after you.
Actually, Tim already told me that. And I said, no, thank you. I'm like, he made that joke and I said, it's a joke. And I'm taking it as a joke. Okay. Anyway, we're ready to adjourn, so I just need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Mary, second?
John,
Okay, John, okay. Next meeting, May 11th, 5 PM here. Okay. If we had the need to do any other public forums during the schematic design process, I'm going to try to do small groups here. It would have been nice to have that public forum here, but we don't have the room. And that's why we're doing this. So we're good. We've adjourned.
Yes, I do.
Bye, Steph.